Hello, this is Count Scotchula reporting for Knerd News, and we are in Las Vegas, Nevada today, and we are going to go to one of the coolest places on planet Earth.
Where do you think you're going?
We've been here 7 years, 4 years down the street in a rental facility, and then 3 years here in this building that we own. So it's been open to the public for 7 years, and there was about a 10-year period before that where I used to run events out of my house where most of this used to sit. So yeah, it's been a long-term project. I started out operating pinball machines when I was about 14, and I just kept buying more of them. And then when I retired in 1990, I decided I wanted to move someplace warm and dry. So I put all the machines on trucks and brought them out to Las Vegas. Spent about 15 years completely rebuilding them so that they look and run just like new. And then started doing some events at my house called Fun Night, where I just invite my friends over and we'd all play pinball. And that unfortunately got kind of out of control, because when the internet happened, people would forward the invite to their friends who would forward it to their friends, and pretty soon there was no control over it. And I ended up having 400 people in my house that I didn't know. So then we decided just to try it open to the public. So we rented some space for a while. That worked pretty good. So now we're here in a building twice as large that we own. So that's kind of where it's at. It's just 250 pinball machines. You can come in and play. It's not a looky-loo museum. It's a you can actually play it museum.
What game are you playing? Jump the wall. There's your glasses.
I see two problems. First of all, pinball has pretty much ceased to exist out in the public, because all the little mom-and-pop grocery stores and the corner shot and beer joints that used to be the home of pinball machines have been replaced by chain stores and chain bars that don't want pinball machines. So the manufacturers have died off to the point where there's only one left, and they could go under at any minute. And also there's a problem with this particular project here, is the fact that I do about 90% of the skilled labor myself, simply because I can't find anybody to do the things that need to be done to keep this equipment running. So at some point, if something happens to me, there's going to be on a sign on the door say, sorry, you had your chance. You should have come here when it was open, because now it's closed.
There's a big, giant purple ball warper behind you.
So I don't see a rosy future for the Pinball Hall of Fame, simply because there's no one out there with the skills on how to fix 60-year-old mechanical equipment. They don't teach it in school, kids don't learn it. So if I were you and you're coming to Vegas, I would really consider getting over here to see this now as opposed to later, because later it might not be here.
Pinball, let's play.
We decided to go the not-for-profit route because we didn't want to have to dilute what we wanted to do to fit into a we must pay the bills mode. In other words, if this was a for-profit thing, first thing we do is run a spreadsheet and say, well, all these games that work on nickels have got to go, because you can't pay the bills with nickels. And then all these games that aren't making any money on quarters, they're going to have to go. We're going to rip out the bottom 20% of the spreadsheet and replace it with something that makes money. And pretty soon you end up with, instead of a room full of cool old pinballs, you end up with dance machines and kung fu machines and whack-a-moles and all that jazz. So we decided just to completely disregard the whole profit thing and just do what we wanted to do, which was old pinball machines. So apparently it's worked out. We've been able to pay the bills. We've been able to donate money to local social service charities. So I guess the public likes it. I'm not much of a computer guy, but we do have a website. So if you want any information, and there's a video tour, a 3D tour you can take of the place. So you can actually see what it looks like in here. and see every single game in here before you come over. So that's pinballmuseum.org.
Don't give up your day job. If only I was down there.